Yo, what's going on YouTube, man? It's Trey TV. I'm back with another video, man. So check this out. You feel me? We got the Super Bowl of boxing coming up right now. You feel me? This is the best bets, in my opinion, based off of my experience in the sport of boxing. So let's get right into it. You know what I'm saying? We got Danny Garcia versus Araceli Landi. I may be butchering his name, but it's all good because he's from Cuba. You feel me? Shout out to them Cuba boys. Him and Danny Garcia. Now, when you look at Araceli Landi, this is a war veteran. You know what I mean? He's been in there with the best. Some people say that he was the only person outside of Bivol and Canelo that actually beat Canelo, arguably. And I can kind of see where they came from when they made that assumption. But just his style, that Cuban style with power, since he moved up, you know what I'm saying, he's been making a lot of noise. He done got almost 3 stoppages in a row, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, he has very, very good boxing ability. I mean, when you look at what he's able to accomplish from his punching power, his body snatching work, and his footwork, I feel like he has it all. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, his resume speaks for itself. He has dynamite in both hands. And on top of that, he has the boxing pedigree to upset anybody in the sport of boxing, especially a guy like Danny Garcia. You see what I'm saying? So, moving on from him, you got Danny Garcia, who's also a very high caliber name in the sport of boxing. He only suffered with 2 losses, actually 3 losses with Errol Spence Jr., Keith Thurman, and Sean Porter. When he steps up at competition, he tends to, I won't say fold, but doesn't rise to the occasion or come out victorious as you would think he do. But either than that, he shows tremendous heart. Every single bout, he doesn't give up. He doesn't waver. He's never been dropped. And he fought Errol Spence, the rib snatcher, the nose breaker. You know what I mean? He fought that Spence. Even though it was post-car accident, he still been in there with the best. So that definitely gives him an IQ for what to expect. But the only thing that I'm kind of, nervous about or not even just nervous, but just concerned about is the layoff that he had. He fought Benavidez, older brother, and we haven't seen him back in the ring since then. When you look at the two stylistically, you would think that Danny Garcia is the younger fighter, the fresher fighter, the fighter that moved up. Araceli Landi, he's the elder fighter. He's not as fast as he was, but we all know that the last thing to leave a person is always going to be that power, And I feel as though Araceli Landi definitely going to try to sit down more of his punches. He's definitely not going to be trying to do a lot of moving around. He's definitely going to try to let Danny Garcia run into something real big and catch him and get him up out of there. He's there for a good time and not a long time. So with that being said, my predictions is I would take Danny Garcia on this one. I feel like he's the younger, fresher fighter, regardless of the layoff. Sometimes you need layoffs. Sometimes you need to recuperate. Sometimes you need to take time off from the sport and actually let your body heal rather than taking it to, wars after wars after wars. Considering Araceli Landi, he's a lot older. So when you look at the two, I feel like Danny Garcia still has way more enough than Araceli Landi. But at the same time, he cannot sleep on Landi's power. If I'm not mistaken, he is a knockout artist as well as Danny Garcia, So that's my prediction on that. Now, moving forward, we got Caleb Plant versus Trevor McCombie. Now, when I was doing my research, I couldn't find really anything valid or anything relatively new from him. I think it's been almost 3 or 4 years since Trevor McCombie has even came back into the sport of boxing. So we really don't know what to expect from him. I mean, you know, what I did see is he get dropped. He got dropped by a bum. That's what I could see, you know. And he got back up and he fought and he showed tremendous heart. You know what I mean? But when you step in there with somebody like Caleb Plant, that's been in there with the likes of Canelo, that's been the distance with the Mexican Monster, you know, that knows how to box. I mean, out of everybody in that division, 168, I still feel as though Caleb Plant is the most purest boxer out of them all. I mean, he may have came short against two of the best in the division at that particular time, but at the end of the day, when you go up and try to be great, sometimes you come up short. I mean, that's what being great is about. You know, you look at all the greats. You look at the Muhammad Ali's, the Mike Tysons, and the Roy Jones. Everybody has took an L trying to be great. So those L's mean absolutely nothing. If anything, you want to look at those L's as lessons. You feel me? Not losses. At the end of the day, they lost retrospect-wise, but morally and mentally, that was a lesson. And I feel like Caleb Plant, he's on a whole different level, with or without a win against those two big names in the sport of boxing to this day. You feel me? So when you look at Caleb Plant, I mean, like I said before, he brings in the most purest forms of boxing. Head movement, he's slick, and he has power. And he has a sneaky left hand fighting out of Nashville, Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? He came from the mud. And at the end of the day, yes, he had a layoff since he fought Benavidez. But ultimately, when it's all said and done, Trevor McCombie, a guy that we just don't know. I mean, I sat there and watched this fight. He's not really technically sound. I mean, he has a pretty good physique, but other than that, physiques don't win in the sport of boxing. You know, you can look like a bodybuilder and get put out within 6 or 7 rounds. You know what I mean? So both guys have had extensive layoffs, but Trevor McCombie, he's coming off of a bigger layoff. So in my opinion, Caleb Plant hasn't really been a knockout artist. So honestly, regardless of it, I would definitely take Caleb Plant to win by decision. You know what I'm saying? Simple as that. Now, last but not least, we got Canelo Alvarez versus Canelo Saul Alvarez fighting Edgar Berlanga. You know, this fight is pretty much self-explanatory. Like I said before, you know, I take my hat off to Edgar Berlanga. He's a hell of a fighter. I feel as though Edgar Berlanga, you know, belongs in this sport. But I feel like it's just too early for this type of fight for him to come out victorious. You know, in my opinion, I feel as though Edgar Berlanga, like I said before, you know, he's a hell of a fighter. He's a hell of a fighter, no doubt. But when you are matched up with the greats, I mean, in my opinion, since Floyd left, I mean, we might as well crown him TBE at this particular time, as far as an active fighter. Because this is my thing. You know, when he fought Floyd Mayweather was TBE. You saw what he done to him, right? Unanimous decision. I mean, it was a shutout, you know. I feel like this fight is gonna be just like that, except Canelo has power. So really, it all depends on how long Berlanga can last, how long Berlanga can move, and can he gain Canelo's respect in the ring? Because if you can't command Canelo's respect, he gonna walk all over you. You seen what he done to Munguia? I mean, he mopped the floor with him. You know, he was catching him with big shots. He was hitting him all, slapping all top of his leg, his head, his ears. He done what he wanted to do with that grown man. Simple. I mean, he dominated him with ease. And he's bigger than Edgar Berlanga. You know, granted, he's a little bit more active than Edgar Berlanga. That's why I feel like Edgar Berlanga, what he's going to have to do is he's going to have to be a little bit more active. You're not going to crack or knock Canelo out. That's not going to happen. You're going to have to outbox him. You're going to have to use that Puerto Rican background that everybody's known for, that Cuban background that those Cubans are known for. What are Cubans known for? Their footwork, their boxing ability. Now, he does have boxing ability, but when you look at it from a comparison to the great Saul Canelo Alvarez, that don't matter. I mean, I done told everybody before, Canelo may have lost against Bivol, but like I said before, those two instances, that's 175. You have to be a complete dog to go to 175 and dethrone champions, let alone undefeated champions. The only guy who was able to do that was Roy Jones Jr. when he came from 60 to 160, to 168 to 175, and when he fought that undefeated champion. You see what he was able to do. I mean, but that's Superman. But other than that, man, when you look at the two in retrospect, I mean, you just got to keep it a buck. You just got to look at it for what it is. And I just feel as though Canelo's going to beat him via unanimous decision. The only reason why I would not say that Canelo would knock him out is simply because of Canelo. At the end of the day, Canelo likes to play. Canelo likes to entertain. Canelo likes to carry you. You feel me? I don't feel like Berlanga has disrespected him enough to the point to where, Canelo is taking this fight personally. If anything, this is straight business. You feel me? And I feel like also to offset that, Berlanga, I feel like he's very durable. I mean, now had this been 2-3 years earlier, Canelo would have got him up out of there easy, But you got to realize Canelo's getting older, He's not looking to do all this bouncing around. He's looking to set traps, hit you with big shots, carry you around, and smile. That's what he's about. This is a retirement check, He don't need to fight anybody, honestly. But this is an easier fight, So I don't discredit him for taking Edgar Berlanga. He's still a flashy Cuban undefeated star. And like I said before, my opinion is I feel like Canelo will beat him via decision. You know what I mean? If anybody feels different or if anybody feels the same, feel free to comment on any one of my videos, any one of the picks that I pick, and let's talk about it. That's what I'm here for. You feel me? But y'all let me know y'all think in the comments, man. This Trey TV, man, and we out.